Good morning, welcome to Catex TV. Today is Friday, December 5th, 2014. My name is Matt Bernat, filling in for Frank Fortunato, who is off today. You can also follow more news updates on our Twitter account at Catex TV. Ukraine has reported an accident at a nuclear power plant, but the government says it poses no danger. It happened on November 28th, forcing one reactor to be shut down. The Zaporizhzhya plant in the country's southeast produces a fifth of Ukraine's electricity. It lies about 300 kilometers west of Donetsk, well away from the conflict zone where the Ukrainian army is fighting pro-Russian separatists. Since the Chernobyl disaster in 1986, under an international convention, countries are supposed to report any nuclear accident to the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna, Austria. The IAEA had no immediate comment. Ukrainian Energy Minister Volodymyr Demtsizhin insisted that there was no threat. Today and tomorrow, tests are being carried out, and from Friday, the plant will be back working normally. There is no problem with the reactor. There's no link at all to the reactor. None whatsoever. Forget it, he said in a news conference. His statement said the problem was caused by an electrical short circuit, which caused technical damage but did not threaten the reactor. Some disruption to electricity supplies has been reported. News of the accident was revealed by Prime Minister Andrei Yatsenyuk as his new cabinet met. The nuclear industry provides about half of Ukraine's electricity. It is expected to be in great demand this winter due to fuel shortages resulting from the suspension of Russian gas supplies. Typhoon Hagupit, known locally as Ruby, has gusts up to 143 miles an hour and is due to hit the Philippines Saturday evening. It is on course for the eastern and northern Samar provinces and the city of Tacloban, where thousands were killed by Typhoon Haiyan a year ago. Local residents, many of them still living in temporary shelters, are moving away from coastal areas. There was no indication for now that Hagupit would be as strong as Haiyan. The latest update from the Philippine Weather Authority said that Hagupit, which means smash in Filipino, was weakening slightly, though it still has powerful gusts. It could bring storm surges up to 1-story high, as well as heavy rain and the risk of landslides, officials have warned. Schools and government offices are closed in some areas, and there were long queues at shops and petrol stations as people stocked up on supplies in preparation for the storm. A shallow undersea earthquake hit off the coast of Northern California Thursday, but there were no immediate reports of injuries or serious damage, and officials said it was unlikely to trigger a tsunami. The U.S. Geological Survey said the earthquake hit at 5:09 a.m. local time, measuring a magnitude of 4.3. It struck about 70 miles off the coast of Eureka and Arcata at a depth of 3.1 miles. Third Point Reinsurance Ltd., a hedge fund strategy reinsurer based in Bermuda, hired Thomas Wafer and Jonathan Norton to help establish and manage its operations in the United States. The reinsurance firm is owned by Third Point LLC, an activist hedge fund managed by Daniel Loeb. Third Point Reinsurance wants to establish a new subsidiary with an office in the United States and be able to originate incremental reinsurance business to better serve its insurance company clients in the country and to further cultivate its reinsurance broker relationships. According to Third Point Reinsurance, Norton will lead its new U.S. operation, and he will also serve as Chief Reserving Actuary for the Third Point Re Group. His appointment will be subject to the approval of the Bermuda Department of Immigration. Third Point Reinsurance has full ownership of an investment portfolio to provide liquidity for claims and expenses. Its investments are held in a separate account. More than 95% of its investments are in FAS 157 levels 1 and 21. America's most powerful space rocket launched a robotic test version of NASA's Orion deep space capsule for its first flight Friday morning, a day after a series of snags forced a scrub of the first attempt. The United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket's liftoff from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station had to be postponed on Thursday, at first due to gusty winds and later due to a bulky fuel valve. But on Friday, no technical issues or weather snags got in the way of an on-time 7:05 Eastern Time launch, even though the clouds were thick over Florida's Space Coast. NASA and its commercial partners are designing Orion to take astronauts to a near-Earth asteroid in the 2020s and to Mars and its moons in the 2030s. For that reason, NASA portrays Friday's 4.5-hour test flight as a first step towards deep space exploration. The mission is known as Exploration Flight Test 1, or EFT-1. Charles Bolden said on NASA TV that he would describe it as the beginning of the Mars era. Orion's flight marks the first time since the Apollo 17 moon mission in 1972 that NASA has sent a vehicle that is being designed to carry humans beyond low Earth orbit. After Orion makes its first circuit around the planet, the rocket's upper stage will kick it into a second, highly eccentric orbit that loops as far as 3,600 miles from Earth. Then Orion will come screaming back into Earth's atmosphere at a speed of 20,000 miles per hour, 80% of the velocity that a spacecraft returning from the moon would experience. This particular Orion is missing a lot of the components that would be needed for a crewed flight, and it won't be carrying any humans. Instead, it's outfitted with more than 1,200 sensors to monitor how its communication and control systems deal with heightened radiation levels and how its heat shield handles re-entry temperatures that are expected to rise as high as 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It will also monitor how the parachutes deploy and slow the craft down for a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. That's the news for today. Thank you for watching. If we have any important breaking news, we will come back on and tell you. As always, stay tuned to our Twitter account at Catex TV for further news updates. Have a nice weekend, and we will see you on Monday.